Hello. Bet you didn't expect to see me this soon again, cause I didn't. In terms of subverting expectations, David and Dan are shaking, quaking, shook, if you will. So here's the deal. I've acquired some things that I would like to turn into prettier looking things. I have clothes from my sister, from my friends, from Goodwill that I looked at and thought, that's ugly. Unless, in the words of our Lord and Savior Pink, I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. This first piece was given to me by my sister. It's a little long for my taste. I'm definitely getting Laura Ingalls Wilder, Anne of Green Gables vibes. I know, the cottagecore hoes are screaming right now, but we're gonna spice it up a little. Because your girl is short, we gotta take a little inchage from the waistline and a little from the bottom because we like it scandalous. So I'm starting off by finding the place where the waist and the bottom meet, and I'm just gonna take in that seam by a couple inches to shorten the waist area. Guys, a little secret. I still have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to sewing. Please help me. So this fabric is, what is it called? Ruched. So I pulled it taut while I sewed a straight stitch all the way around. After trying on the dress to make sure that everything looked just fine and dandy, I cut off all of the excess fabric, and then I used an overcasting stitch for stretch fabric on the edge that I just cut. Sweet, the waist part is done. We are good. And now, time to figure out the length. Qui-Gon, don't you dare. Don't you dare lay down, that is my spot. Are you kidding me? So I put some clothespins where I want it to come up to. So, in theory, this is how much I should take off. Let's see how that goes. So I measured the distance that I marked on the top and mimicked it along the bottom edge because that's where I wanted to take the fabric from. And I just pinned that distance, maybe making it probably about an inch longer in the back because butts exist. And then I cut off all the excess fabric. Some people skip this step, but I just need to stress how crucial, vital, important it is to take a break and pet your animals. Oh, look at that. Oh, yes, that's very nice. Then after overlocking the bottom edge, I folded it up once and used a straightening iron to lock the bottom hem in place because I am a heathen fake adult and I don't own an iron. Then I just used a straight stitch all the way across the bottom edge to create that hem. And guys, I think it's time for the final reveal. This dress makes me want to frolic through a field of flowers. A prairie, if you will. Perhaps one with a little house. Laura Ingalls, I'm coming for you. This is definitely the dress I would wear if my celebrity crush asked me out on a date. Don't worry, Matt has already granted me permission lest that opportunity arise. I didn't really do much to this dress except for make it fit me better, so let's see what the second flip has in store. My friend Katie gave me this one, and I think it's really cute, but it's a romper. And everybody knows rompers only look good on you if you have if you're well endowed in the buttocks area. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything wrong with my butt, but I'm a proud member of whatever the butt version of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee is. The Baby Buns Brigade. Let's get started. So, I'm having issues with this one. I don't know what the heck I want to do to it. These are shorts, FYI. Maybe I'll turn it into a dress and then I'll tighten up the part where these two meet. I'm sorry, boy, but I need to sit here. Please. Please. So I began by cutting out the crotchular region and bringing the fabric back together into more of a dress shape, which basically meant just stitching up the front and the back. Now, to address the shapeless waist situation, I figured some elastic would do the trick, so I used a zigzag stitch to attach some elastic into the waistline. Now, this was my first time using a pedal with my sewing machine, and I cannot believe I haven't been using it the whole time. It's infinitely easier. And okay, well, this is me figuring out that my sewing machine makes a fun little noise when I stick my finger in this hole. Please don't take that out of context. So I used a zigzag stitch to attach the elastic while pulling it taut so that when it scrunched back up, the dress would scrunch up with it all nice like. And then to make sense of the sleeves, I just pinned them into whatever the heck this shape is, and then I sewed it in place. And with that being said, guys, it's time to boogie. I really like this piece. I'm glad I was able to turn it into something that fits me well because it didn't. When are we gonna be over the romper thing? Can society as a whole just say a big fat no to rompers? Regardless, now that it has been de-romped, I think this piece is cute. I think the length is nice. I like the baby doll shape that it took, and I like the little puffy sleeve situation. I'm not sure what I was going for, but I like what it became, Thank you to my friend Katie for giving me this piece. I will think of your sweet little face every time that I wear it. And with all that being said and done, I do believe that it's time to, blue skidoo into flip number 3. Next up, we have this gigantic denim piece, which apparently has pockets, which is pretty much every girl's dream when it comes to any type of clothing. So I'm definitely going to try to preserve those. Other than that, I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do with this piece yet, so let's find out. Here are some of my ideas. We could cut off the collar, make it a square neckline, and then bring the bottom up quite a bit and have a cute little ruffled waistline. Or we could have a little tank top situation here. I leave it mostly loose, but I still bring it up to make it shorter, and I feel like I would get a lot of wear out of something like this because I can layer it with different shirts, turtlenecks, sweaters underneath it, and I can still wear it in the wintertime too. Or I could keep the collar for that one, or I could extend the buttons. I could do that for either one. Please don't let me down. First things first, we gotta cut this dude right in half and trim out the pockets from the bottom piece. We're definitely saving those bad boys for later. Then I sealed up the pocket holes and pinned the top and the bottom piece back together and tried it on to test the length. We're looking good, we're looking fly, so I decided to reunite the top and the bottom piece where I had put those pins. Once again, I am begging, I am pleading, do not forget this crucial step. And then I decided, hold that thought. Thank you. Now comes the special part of the evening where we introduce a segment I like to call the spaghetti interview. In my opinion, Sharpay is not the villain of the movie. Sharpay is the victim, in fact.
Yeah, imagine building your clout for 3 years? They're a junior in High School Musical 1, right? And so she spends literally 3 years in high school working the grind.
And this is what she wants to do with her life. She needs to be building her resume. She can dance, she can sing, she can act.
Then some random ass transfer student ass.
And some random ass basketball boy who also doesn't even like theater in the first place come in and they're like, maybe I'll audition on accident. And then scoop the rolls out from under Ryan and Sharpay?
It's honestly bullshit.
Oh my god, I cannot believe she was framed as the villain.
I would be so pissed.
I'd be pissed.
I would be so pissed.
This has been the Spaghetti Interview. Thanks for tuning in, and now back to your regularly scheduled programming. So I cut off the sleeves and the collar, and then I realized she's still a little too wide. So I spent an ungodly amount of time seam ripping what I had so beautifully and perfectly sewn together. And I took in the top piece by a couple inches. But before I could sew that in place, I had to create the hem on all of the top edges. So I overlocked the edges of the sleeves and the collar to allow for a single rolled hem, which I secured in place with a straight stitch. Then I could do the same with the this piece, this one right here, this piece. Once the top piece was sufficient, it was time to get working on the bottom piece. We're kind of just winging this whole thing, and you know, sometimes the best things in life are completely winged. You know what they say, if you're not winging it, you're not bringing it. You know, they all say that. So what I ended up doing was using a straightening iron to coax the fabric into a shape that vaguely resembled a row of buttons. And then I just, you know, sewed that bad boy right in place, right then and there. Sewed her right down. Honestly, for how much I completely made this up, it looks pretty baller. And then, at long last, it was finally time to reunite the top and the bottom piece. Because the bottom piece was wider than the top, we're going to get these cute little ruffles when we sew it together, so I took the time to make sure that each of the ruffles were neatly and evenly placed. Now for my favorite part, we're reusing those old pockets, so we're just refining their shape a little bit, adding an extra panel for length, and sewing those bad boys right on it. And then once I finally decided that the length was okay and I wasn't making a huge mistake, I cut off the excess fabric from the inside. And then the worst, but also best part for someone as bad at making decisions as I am, the buttons. Thanks to my sister, I have an ungodly amount of buttons, and they're all cute and they're all cool, and I have no idea what the heck to choose. I ended up going with these guys. Well, not the pretty side, the blue side. I figured for this piece, the plainer, the better, you know? So I marked out even spacing for all of the buttons, and then began the painstaking, excruciating task of sewing in 3 trillion buttons. And the buttons are the last thing, so it's time for the final reveal. Overall, I'm pretty dang happy with this one. It definitely wasn't the cutest thing to begin with, but now it's a versatile piece that I can layer with different shirts, short or long sleeves, sweaters, turtlenecks, and I think that it would look really cute with tights or anything else that covers up the leg hair we all grow out in the winter. Am I right, ladies? The pockets are a little uneven, but you know, that just adds to the handmade feel of the piece. So thanks for sticking around for this video. It's definitely different than anything else I've done before, so bye!